Hi. Today's message is a combination of a few things, a few concepts that have been coming to mind and beautifully put together. Midnight wants to be part of today's video. She's getting comfy. That's Midnight. Yep. That's my girl, right, baby girls? Yeah. Anyway, so a few concepts that have been coming to mind, and it's really interesting because typically with the messages that I get or put together, or I'm guided to put together, they show up sometimes in pieces. And this one in particular, it's taken a few weeks. So I've been thinking about peace, and it's such a vast concept. And when we think about world peace and how is that possible, and it feels almost impossible. And so I've been really asking, what does it look like? How do I manifest peace? How do I create peace? And it goes to being cliche and being the change you want to be, and being the change you want to see and be. So I came across someone's words that say world peace is the most essential outer realization of our time. It is the most essential outer realization of our time. That's by Anode Judith. And so how do I manifest that realization? How do I make that real? Because it's one thing to get the concept and know it, yet it's another thing to apply it and be it. And I believe that it's an inner journey. It really requires an increase of awareness of the self, right? It's like we must be peace in order to see peace. It's not external, and I think a lot of times it's embedded in that way. We see it with our leadership. We it's like external. We want to see it out in the outer reality, yet haven't gone within to create it within first, right? It's like we want to go the opposite way, and it's so much harder to go that opposite way because it's not in our power. It's like, well, it's someone else's responsibility to create peace, or it's our next president's job, or a priest, or whatever authority or higher role we give that to. It's like it's out there. It's not so much within. And yet the people that have created movements of peace, like someone like Gandhi, he understood the concept of having it within so that it can be without. And a lot of great leaders, like even Martin Luther King, I feel like he understood that concept too. So in this time, we're in a revolution of consciousness, and we have been given all the tools. Like we're really living in a time where we can truly awaken to our divinity and create the reality that we want, because we're living in a time where we can clear our karma and live in Christ consciousness. And that may sound esoteric and metaphysical, yet it's true. When we go into all the enlightened beings that have come to teach, it's really to live in that Christ consciousness, is to live empowered and in peace within. So in order for us to actually clear karma, and the thing about karma is, when we look at what it really means, karma means action. So just in itself is action, and we know that every action has a cause, right? So action is really a cause and effect all in one. Yet when we act, we can either be acting in a way that's negating our divine purpose or our essence, or we can act in a positive way that aligns us more and more to that. So being able to clear that karma requires awareness, and it requires knowing. And this brings me to a conversation I had a few days ago with someone, and this is what I mean about the pieces coming together. because we were talking about history and how it repeats itself. And I always, that concept always stays with me because I'm like, why? Why does it repeat itself? If it's not something that we wanted, why are we repeating it, right? So, and who's in control of repeating it? Like, are we just on automatic and it just happens? No, we have the ability to create something new. So he then went on to say, history repeats itself because we don't know history. And that was like, oh, that put the piece together for me. And in that moment, I'm like, yes, it's because we don't know it, or because we haven't learned about it. We haven't learned the correct history. We haven't learned why things happen the way that they do. And it's the same thing with our karma, the same idea with those actions that we've made. It's, we can continue the pattern of negative things, negative patterns, negative emotions, negative actions, and sometimes not even be aware of it or not even know how to get out of it, right? Same thing with history, right? How do we create something new? Well, we got to learn about it, and we have to know what to do differently. Same thing with us. So in order to get out of those negative patterns, we have to bring awareness to it, and then also learn how to change those patterns so that we can be at ease. Because when we live in so many negative emotions, because it's so easy to get angry, right? Watching some of the presidential debate, I could see how easy it is to get angry and show that as a way of power, right? So, and that's what we see in a lot of our society. It's like all this frustration, all this anger, and that really shows powerlessness. Like, there's no power there. The power really lies in being calm. The power really lies in being able to have a conversation and resolve issues and conflict. The power lies in listening to the other person and listening to the other perspective and respecting it without wanting to impose one's own personal views. So that's where the power is. The power is in being calm and being able to step out. I had a great meditation today, and it was all connected to emotions and really different levels of dealing with it. And the first is, when we are, let's say, functioning from an unconscious point, it when there is, let's say, an argument, there's reaction. So when there is reaction, there's emotion against emotion, right? And that typically doesn't end nice. And then there's the next level of responding, where the intellect comes in and is able to, okay, this emotion is here, that emotion is there, that this person is feeling this way. So intellectually, the response is connecting the intellectual with the emotion. So it's different. The third is being able to radiate, and that being able to radiate our inner being, and not even reacting or responding. It's really just being able to let it go before it even happens, before it even arises. And that's really in essence what we are and who we are. It's that love, it's that being, it's that this is okay right now, and being able to be the complete observer and beyond, right? So when we get to that, we're able to create patterns that are positive, where there's no judgment, because every time we judge, we create a limitation. So it doesn't allow us to connect to that other being. It doesn't allow us to let go of judgment of self. So there's no ease of mind. And that is what blocks us from getting to peace. It's when there's no ease, when the mind is restless, when there's negative emotions tied to people, places, and things, right? There's no peace. And so if there is no peace within, there is no peace without. That is a universal law, as within, so without. And we see it in every aspect. And the universal laws are always governing. So when we create that peace within, when we manifest that within through forgiveness, through no judgment, to really accepting who we are, non-violence. And it's interesting, my T says, give forgiveness, that is your greatness. And forgiveness really helps to heal the soul, and it helps us to live in peace. So yeah, and again, as within, so without. So in order for us to see the peace without, we have to have it within. We have to be it within. And to finish, another piece that came along with this, and these all happen in different times, different places. I read something. It says, your life will be a masterpiece when you learn to master peace. So that is today's message. It is to master peace so that your life can be a masterpiece. Namaste.